The Justin Fields experiment is over. From Chicago to Pittsburgh, now to New York, his journey has been a roller coaster of hype and heartbreak. While once an incredible college QB, he's proven in 5 years and now an 0-7 start that he is not a starting NFL quarterback. After this brutal benching, it's time to ask the tough question, what has gone so wrong? And the answer, he still has the same old problems. He holds the ball too long, he struggles pre and post snap, and he can't hit easy throws. He's once again top 5 in longest time to throw. Everything he does just feels way too slow. And once again, he's leading the league in sack percentage at 14% because he holds and holds the rock, can't read out the coverage correctly or who's open, creates pressure for himself. He leads the league in pressure rate at 48%. So sure, while the Jets' offensive line is horrible and their scheme doesn't produce a ton of open receivers, Fields still fails to get the ball out on time when there are open receivers, and it leads to unnecessary sacks. For example, here's a 3rd and 5 that encapsulates all of these issues. The Jets have a curl flat concept designed to stretch out the curl flat defender. Against one high cover 3 zone, the cornerback is going to bail deep, cover 3 deep, so Fields just has to read this guy and throw to whichever receiver is open. But at the snap, the Broncos rotated to this Tampa 2 deep cover 2 zone coverage, which still has the same read defender, but Fields completely freezes. He still just has to read Jaquan McMillan to see where he goes, and with McMillan's hips flipped towards the curl, pretty hard for him to defend this flat route if thrown accurately towards the sideline. But Fields freezes. Sure, it's a challenging disguise from the Broncos. They're showing 7 on the line, but they drop out and just rush 4, and yet the Jets do a fantastic job of blocking it up. You don't want your running back, Isaiah Davis, on a defensive end. No, they get him on safety Talanoa Hufanga like they're supposed to. And while Hufanga is an absolute dog, right here, the protection is good. The pocket is great, you can't expect your back to take care of Hufanga forever, but Fields' brain farts, you can see him wanting to throw the ball, but he just doesn't. And on 3rd and 5 takes one of his 9 sacks on the day, just like my wife last weekend. He should have been benched in this Week 6 matchup in London, but the Jets started him in Week 7, he threw 12 passes, and then, yeah, obviously he was benched. Before we really dive deeper into the absolute chaos that is his season and career, I want to thank this week's sponsor, SeatGeek. With the NFL season halfway over, SeatGeek is the best app to use for buying tickets this season. We've got the NFL, World Series, NBA just popping off. Now is the time to get in there and get active. I went to the Bears opener against the Vikings, which was absolutely electric. I'm looking at some Bulls tickets, hoping to see Wemby at some point, and hopefully I'm going to make it to an NFL playoff game somewhere. Who knows? Probably not in Chicago. And whenever I'm buying tickets, whether it's a month out, the day of, I always use SeatGeek. I prefer them because their app rates a deal for each game, concert, show, whatever I'm going to. It's all based on the best deal for each seat. A green dot means it's a good deal. A red dot, no. So no matter when the event is I'm going to, I find a green dot, and it's as easy as that. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and what I love about them, if you use my coupon code Rollins10, you get 10% off your first order. Fields' inability to read coverages post-snap create many issues that cascade into many more issues. Defenses know they can rotate their safeties and fool him, so he struggles against really all coverages with any sort of disguise. And then, also, he's lost something that was one of his biggest strengths coming out of Ohio State, his deep ball, which has been almost completely removed from the Jets' offense. He passes the ball 20 plus yards down the field just 6.7% of the time. That ranks 35th in the league. And in the previous 4 years of his career, that number's hovered around the 11 to 16% range. Because he struggled to push the ball down the field, defenses aren't concerned with defending the deep part of the field, which has amplified his struggles. Here we have the bounce concept, which pops up every single week. That's how prevalent it is across the NFL, where Josh Reynolds runs a dig route and Jeremy Ruckert runs a sit down underneath. Typically, it isolates one defender and forces them to choose to defend deep or short, but the Broncos use their 2 quarter safeties to defend Reynolds and a linebacker to defend Ruckert. This ain't great, but look how low, close to the line the Broncos defense is. They're not worried about anything deep at all. And the thing is, this problem has already been solved. Check out circa 2007, Tony Romo and Terrell Owens have this thing on lock. They're getting cover 4 zone quarters from the Eagles, but they instead run a bounce takeoff concept, punishing the safeties sitting down underneath, sitting on the bounce concept, and now the defense can't play bounce the same because they might get dunked on over the top. But when you have somebody as limited as Fields, you don't have everything at your disposal, so you can't run bounce takeoff, so defenses can condense down towards the line and suffocate your offense. It's crazy, because the deep ball was one of his biggest strengths back at Ohio State, but a deep ball isn't as simple as arm strength. It's timing, rhythm, throwing it deep at the right time, with the right pace, in the right location, and those are areas Fields has not succeeded in the NFL. There are just so many little areas of the game that he's not excelled in, and worse yet, for a fifth-year veteran, not improved upon. For example, even when defenses aren't playing complex coverages, even something as simple as just reading isolated defenders in the down, it's still extremely challenging for him. Here, Arian Smith is the first read and has Mike Jackson's hips completely flipped, ready to defend the deep ball. When you see this as a quarterback, this is a huge win for the receiver. With all of Jackson's momentum going upfield, Smith has earned the advantage and should get targeted. Fields needs to anticipate this and see this, but he takes a sack. And when we go to the tight angle, we can see this is exactly where he's looking, but he just doesn't throw it and runs right into a defender. Or there's the fact that he still struggles when he's hot, which is when the defense overloads your pass protection to one side, so the QB has to change his typical progression post-snap and hit a quicker route underneath. Here the Panthers are showing man coverage one-on-one. Fields has to have a plan in case each individual defender, non-pass rusher blitzes. He has to know what he'll do if each guy comes. If Trevin Wallace blitzes, Fields is not hot because the Jets have enough in protection to that side, so he's already accounted for. So Fields really just has to worry about Trayvon Moehrig blitzing, who's a little further back. If he comes, Fields would have the quick slant from Mason Taylor with the safety rotating all the way down. And even still, when he turns to the right, the quick throw to Davis would beat the blitz. But Fields has no idea he's getting blitzed, has no post-snap awareness whatsoever, has no idea he's hot, and gets absolutely blasted. Now, I've made it pretty clear what I think about him to this point, but we can't pretend like the Jets are doing him any favors. The receiving room outside of Garrett Wilson is non-existent, the offensive line is horrible, and the scheme itself hasn't helped him whatsoever. If you're going to get the best out of Justin Fields, you have to know he's going to hold the ball. So you have to pour whatever you can into the offensive line, O-line over receivers any day of the week with Fields at the helm, but, of course, the Jets have neither. Then when it comes to scheme, they don't put him in position to win either. For example, here he's hot again, where the Broncos are blitzing Justin Sternad, now from the other side of the formation. Off these naked bootlegs, offensive coordinators have to implement a quick flat route as their hot route for this very reason, where in case Fields turns his head and he gets pressure right in his face immediately, he has an outlet, even if he gets hit hard. But look at Reynolds here. You can tell he is not coached. This is not designed for him to be the hot receiver because he's not running a quick enough route where he's ready for a quick pass right when Fields flips around. So, while Fields has struggled mightily this year, the Jets also deserve a decent piece of the blame in some areas. You could argue the scheme and personnel are bad to the point where Fields is being dragged down, so it's not his fault, but at the same time, no matter the scheme and personnel, he's never had sustained success anywhere. The issues he's always had are issues that are still recurring, still prevalent in his game. He's always held the ball way too long, taken a million sacks, struggled pre-snap to anticipate blitzers, misread post-snap coverage rotations. Now he's not even pushing the ball deep with one of the lowest deep ball rates in the entire NFL, so defenses can condense down on an already lackluster offensive scheme and personnel group. The Jets have struggled at quarterback for what feels like forever, so the idea that Justin Fields was going to be the guy to turn this whole thing around was always ridiculous. This isn't the first year he's struggled with his issues. At this point, this is who he is. And if he continues to somehow get a starting gig elsewhere, it's going to be the same old story. I believe the perception of him as a quarterback was always skewed by his raw physical gifts, which blinded fans, and honestly front offices, to who he's always really been as a player. We know the quarterback position is not simply who can throw the ball the hardest or furthest, but the one who can excel at the extremely difficult position of quarterback. And unfortunately, from everything we've seen of Justin Fields in the NFL, he simply can't do it.